Let me pull up the list of stuff.
I actually suggested.
I don't think he's right.
I actually suggested.
Just wants the extra credit. I don't like.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. In college courses.
So, if you guys are planning on following along, Visual Studio takes forever to open, so I'd open that right now. I'm going to be doing this in C# just because C# is a beautiful language, and I think you all should learn it. But C++ looks very similar to C#, and all the clients are going to work the same anyway, just different, I guess, capitals and stuff.
Yeah.
But I would get that open real quickly. All right. Well, I guess we can get started. You want to get started now?
Where's Visual Studio at?
Visual Studio is where you press the start button and then you type in Visual Studio.
It's not on this computer.
Oh, it
Wait.
isn't?
Line.
Give it time.
It was a typo. Yeah. That's it.
How dare you
Just log in, you gotta give it a second to load everything.
Alright, y'all good? So,
Keep your
hello,
mouth here, keep lying to us.
I'm Chris Kinney and I'm the game team lead for SIG Game, and I guess I'll be your presenter today. So, in order to actually write an AI for SIG Game, one of the most important things that you need to do at the beginning of the competition is pay attention to the opening presentation. Because that's where we tell you what the game is, and that is going to be like the most important thing. You can't write an AI for a game you don't know. So we're actually going to go over and look at the game. We're going to be writing an AI for Catastrophe, and I'm going to be going through this using C#, Visual Studio and all that. So if you want to follow along, go right ahead. Or you could do it in your own language if you want. But so first of all, let's look at the game. So all the games can be found at github.com/thegame/ actually, there's a docs link right here. I'll get to that later. But cadre/games, and we're going to open up Catastrophe. So there's this complicated link right here. Just remember that it's under the Cadre repository. I believe there's a link right here as well. So yeah, game rules is right here. So this link is docs.sigame.io, and then you just click on Catastrophe, and then game rules right here. There's also an opening. The opening presentation is there, and the getting started slides. I'm not going to go over that though. So Catastrophe. Catastrophe is a game where basically both players play as a cat. And the cat controls a bunch of humans that they're given at the start of the game. They can recruit new humans to their cause, and their ultimate goal is basically they want to either kill the enemy cat or defeat all their human followers. So the game itself is a grid-based game, so it's 26 by 18 grid. It's just all land. There's a road going along the middle. There's shelters that are generated throughout the map. I guess the easiest way for me to actually show you the game is to show you the game. So let me start up something real quick. npm start. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just actually run a game for you. So localhost 80. Yes, I believe in you. Oh, it's still building. Failed to start this. Why did you fail to start? Okay, well, fallback. You guys get to see the bugged visualizer instead. So let me go ahead and open up this game log real quick. It's all bugged. All these cats and things aren't actually there. It's a bug for some reason. I had a working version that apparently is not working. So let me explain the game real quick. So yeah, I am playing myself. You're given a cat. Both players are given a cat at the start of the game, so you can't really see the. Oh, you can see it over here. there's the top corner one, and this is the red player. And the bottom corner one, that's the blue player. And each player starts on, you can't really see it, there's a little cardboard box there, that's a shelter. And that's like your base, essentially. And then you're also given a bunch of humans. These guys are fresh humans, as in they don't have a job. They can't really do anything other than change to other types of humans. I'll go ahead and, I think, yeah. So I push play. You'll see they're moving around, doing things. There's fresh human going across the road. You can convert these guys to your cause. You know, basically you get them as units. That's what this guy over here is doing. That one's able to convert. Anyway, so we're going to be writing an AI that does something similar to this. Not necessarily a full AI, because that would take a very long time, but something that's enough for you to get started. Okay, I give up. Okay, so to get started, first you'll want to go to github.com/game, and then the game clients that you're going to want, they're going to be given to you through GitLab or whatever in the competition. There's going to be a different process to get it, but just for now, we're going to go ahead and grab it straight off the GitHub repository. So if you go over to github.com/game/ this French word .c joer or something .cs. So this will be the C# client. .py is the Python client. There's also Java, JS, etc., etc. You'll want to. We're going to go through actually the process of cloning it. So in order to clone it, you want to copy this. You want to copy this link. In GitLab, it'll be somewhere else, but there's going to be a link that looks like this, and we're going to go ahead and put that into a folder. New folder. Do that, and we're going to clone it into here. So the command for cloning, or essentially downloading the entire code base, is git clone, and then you paste. And then you can also put the folder name if you want. Apparently this, git dash. CD paste. I believe in you. All right, so let's try that again. Git. Oh, I guess I haven't copied. Paste. So you're going to want to use this. In Windows, you have to use like a fancy Git client for it because it's Windows. But git clone, etc., etc. And then once you run that command, you'll end up see like all these files are getting put into here. And this is the code for the client. This is where you're going to be writing your AI. Your AI is going to be located under games/catastrophe, and then this is going to be your AI class. I'll go ahead and open that in Visual Studio if you're following along. So to do that, just double click on the solution. If you're doing this in C++, then I don't know. If you're using an IDE for C++, you can set that up however. There's a bunch of things here. I'll go over that in a sec. Why is this open? Okay. Visual Studio. Open project. Yes, please. I don't want to open Visual Studio twice. So desktop. There. So don't ask me for every project.
That's not safe.
I know, I downloaded it from the web. But anyway, once you get that open, you gotta wait for Visual Studio's excessively long loading times because it's Visual Studio. Let me go over this though while it opens. If you're working with any other language essentially, or even if you're working with C# but you're like on Linux or whatever, you'll look in. If you look in here, there's a makefile for every single every single client has a makefile, and then more importantly, there's also a run and a test run script. So when you first get your client, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up test run, and you want to change game name to the name of whatever your game is. Most likely this will already be done for you, but just open it up and double check and make sure that this is exactly the game name. Since we're doing this in C#, we're not actually going to be using the test run scripts, but in order to use them, close this out. In order to use them, what you would do is in order to use them, you want to do test run, and then all this is filled out. You just need to put in some session name, so name, so session name. The session name can be whatever you want. It's just so that you can set up, I guess, so that you and a specific person can play against each other. If I run that, it's not going to work because I'm on Windows, because this is shell. But we're not going to be using the test run script, but that's how you would do it for basically any client that you would be using. What we're going to do now that we have the game solution file open. Does everyone who's following along have this open, by the way? Anyone? All right. So now that we've got this open, we're going to go ahead and open up game, catastrophe, and AI. And this is where all your code's going to go. So this is a fancy looking rebuilt class that you can use, and you have to use. So looking through here, you can see, oh, there's a lot of green stuff, a lot of comments, and a lot of functions and stuff. And there's even this thing that seems to be already filled out for you. Just go over those real quickly, I guess. Get name is basically the name of your AI. You can name it whatever you want. So in my case, I named it that. Or you could put like,
Did it just turn off?
I think you just lost power.
did I lose power somehow?
Or did that?
Okay then.
You just shut off.
That's really random.
Reasons.
But anyway, the get name function is going to be, all these functions are going to be in every single client. So you'll just want to fill them in. The get name function is going to return your client's name. So you can name your client whatever you want. Please avoid from profanity though. I'll wait for this to load up before I show you the other functions though. Does it have resharper on it? Oh no, it doesn't. Sorry. So you got a bunch of functions here. Get name is the name of your client. Replace this with your team name. It's in big bold right there. So name it whatever your team is, whatever you want really. Down here you've got the start function. Start is going to be executed whenever the game is ready to begin, but hasn't actually started yet. So, like for example, the entire game has been initialized, the map is there, everything, but you haven't actually started playing the game yet. It's just before you start playing. So that'll get executed at that time. You can set up all your variables and stuff in there. This game updated function you're probably not really going to use, but it gets called every time something updates, whether or not it's your turn. Ended is, it gets called whenever the game ends. You could do any kind of cleanup you want, or if you want like compile, like you want to log outputs or something, so you can see the build log later. Whatever you want, you could put some stuff in there. The main function you're going to be working with though is run turn. This gets called every time it's your turn, and you'll notice it's a Boolean. So the way that run turn works is it'll get called, it'll keep on getting called until it returns true. So most of the time you're not going to care, you're just going to return true. But if for some reason you want an AI or you want to write an AI that needs this run-turn function getting called a lot of times, then you can do that. We're gonna actually put our logic here. So when you get your code for this, by the way, there's gonna be stuff in here. You're gonna get something called a shell AI, and there actually is one for this game, but I'm not gonna be using that. That'll show you how to use all the functions already. In this case, we're actually gonna be going over it ourselves, so it doesn't really matter. So I don't know. What do you guys think is the first thing that an AI should be able to do?
Recognize its goal.
Recognize its goal. Might be a little difficult.
Recognize its tools, its units.
Recognize its units, yeah.
The things that it's doing.
Move 1 unit, 1 square.
Move 1 unit, 1 square. How does that sound?
Sounds really fun.
Sounds,
What do we move all units one square?
well,
Simultaneously.
Randomly move units around.
first of all, we got to figure out what our
Maybe
units
assign-
are.
Yeah.
So up here, there's this properties things you can open up. It just shows game and player. We got to figure out what the heck our units are first. How do we find out what our units are? So easiest way is var units is equal to this dot player dot units. So this whatever. C# supports var. In other languages, you might have to specify the type. I think Java is the only language where you have to do that. But if you want to, you can.
Use auto in C++.
Yeah.
If you have.
Yeah, in C++ you can use auto, or in Java you can't use anything. But in C# you can just use var. So this will give you a reference to all of your units. So let me go back to the visualizer. So all of these little humans right here, all the humans and all the cats, well, the one cat that's yours, this array will have all that stuff. So we're going to try and make 1 unit move 1 space each turn. So unit is equal to, let's just take the first unit in this. It's actually an array or a list. Oops. Yeah. Anyway, it's a list. So unit, we're just going to take the first one. Units 0. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to move it. So unit move, and then we want to get the current tile that the unit's on, and then which direction should we move it?
North.
All right, tile north. The only issue is this. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. You'll see it. All right, you'll see the issue in a sec, because tile north might not always exist, basically. You know, the top of the map doesn't have a tile north of it, but that won't be an issue. So how do we test this in Visual Studio?
Very carefully.
Very carefully is the correct. No, I'm just kidding. What you'll want to do in Visual Studio specifically is you want to go to. Oh, this is doing what it did with. Anyway, hopefully this works. What you want to do is open up properties. Why is this running on .NET Core? Okay. Does anyone else have .NET Core? For some reason, who has .NET Framework right here? This is, so what you want to do is solution and then right click and open up properties. So
I don't have a solution.
Ah, I don't have that.
so okay, so who says .NET Core right here?
If I could get that, maybe.
Because .NET Core is not correct. This should be a .NET Framework.
What did I do?
Why the heck is this .NET Core?
Blue window. UI, right click.
Okay.
Okay, well that should not be a .NET Core, and I think that's actually an issue with the Visual Studio on here. Another way we could do this is, I think,
There's a fault for this.
Where does it need to be?
Yeah.
TMD, I think we can just compile this manually.
So, does it get GUI here?
open command window here. Good enough. .NET is here. .NET build -c debug. I think.
Oh, here it goes. Okay, close one. Loading system.
Okay. In theory, this should work. I hope I don't have to use this the whole time. Oh, hey, that worked. Okay, we're good. Whew. So,
Just .NET.
yeah, .NET will work. So, for now, just we're gonna have to do this through command line because Visual Studio is installed in a weird way on these computers. Sorry for the random hiccup there. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually compile this through command line because apparently Visual Studio is weird on here. So still go ahead and open up properties here. And then what you're going to want to do is under debug. I guess this doesn't matter. Okay. Well, okay. If you're using Visual Studio during the competition, in debug, what you want to do is put the name of the game, -s, game.siggame.io, and then -r, and then some session name. And then during the competition, if you're using Visual Studio, you can just push play. But since Visual Studio is weird on here, we're going to be doing this the hard way. And this can move over here. And let me open up. Can I do that?
He did something to debug, we went to.
Yeah.
It's just showing for
Yeah, I'm just saying. So in the debug, if you're using Visual Studio during the competition, you can do this. The problem is Visual Studio on these computers is apparently not going to work because it's all weird. If I tried to run this, it would probably yell at me. Build started.
There we go.
Hey, that would be nice if it didn't yell at me, but it did earlier. But anyway, is it actually going to work?
It didn't work
Well,
for
okay,
you.
that works.
It didn't work for you the last time. For some
No, it
reason.
didn't work in the other computers. That's weird. Anyway, so you can manually build it over here. You use .NET. So you want to go into the folder and then you run .NET build -c is configuration and then this is debug. So that'll go ahead and build it for you. I'm not going to run this because it's running right now, so it'll yell at me. But here we go. So I'll move this over to here. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to open up command, like another command window, because we have nobody to play against. It's just us right now, unless one of you guys happens to join in. But so in order to actually play against yourself, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to actually. So normally what you'd do is you'd run this test run script. We're not going to do that because C# is different. But we're going to go ahead and open up a command window right here. There we go. Oh, okay. Well, I'm playing against someone right now. But what you do is,
That's right.
what is this called? enjoyr C#.exe. C#.exe. Can you guys see that text, by the way? Or is that too small? Let's see if that works. Yep, that works. So in order to play against yourself, what you're going to do is you're going to run your AI in whatever you would normally run it in, but you're also going to want to open up a new terminal, and you'll want to run it again. So you want to run it twice, but in the same session. And then this will make sure that you get paired up with yourself unless someone else happens to be using the same session as you. Yeah, that's just going on. So can't move. So clearly you guys aren't going to know what the heck's going on based on this. All you can see is a unit can't move, right? So what's actually happening in this game? Where are all the units? This is the game that is currently running. but there's no way for you to know where your unit's at while the game is running. So we'll get to that in a sec. Who was I playing against? Did you get the
What?
Oh, did you get the link from that?
Yeah.
That's going to be kind of long and complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just run it again against myself. So let's do that. Game is starting, and object. What? Yes, you are a reference to an object. Okay. For some reason, okay. You want me to?
I have no idea.
Here, you want to just tell me the link?
Send it through Discord.
Yeah. Sure. So it'll give you a little link at the bottom. Did you send it? Here it is. So yeah, at the bottom, I would have shown you it, but I will. There's gonna be a little blue link.
That's the first time I've heard of us having to use that one.
Yeah, it's for your Microsoft account.
Log equals.
You're talking about the
So when you set up like
mail dot.
yeah. So when you set up like Word and stuff on your
Oops.
computer using your own account to register it, it's the same.
Oh wait,
Fascinating.
we're all
So it used to
saved
be-
We'll have to make it interactive.
because we can find the game log right here. So
That's not.
yeah, you guys can see all your different games that you ran, different sessions. Let's go ahead and I guess view this one.
Oh, no, I got the bill.
So,
It's just-
ignoring all of the extra cats that are everywhere because of the random bug that was not supposed to be there. Here's the game. This client has their units moving up, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I guess this is just random movement, so I don't know whose this is. View this one, I guess. Yep, here I am. Okay, maybe not. Well, anyway,
You want it once.
I'll just show you this one. So, these guys are moving up. I don't know what's going on with these guys down here, but
They're lost.
oh, I guess mine is just not working. Lovely.
Yeah, I think it's mine. It's
Oh, it's probably trying to move the cat. That's probably what's happening. It's moving the cat. So, we had, in this code, we have one unit, specifically the first unit, which I'm pretty sure is always the cat, trying to move up. How can we make this better?
Very carefully.
Very carefully is correct. Now, let's just loop through all the units. Let's make them all move up. So, for each,
You can make them move a different direction if you can't move.
The whole
we can do that. Oh my god, that's beautiful. Okay, we can make them move up in
Time out.
different directions as well. So, unit in, units. So, let's go ahead and make a for loop. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have now every single unit move up. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do what you said now. We're going to check, can they move up? And if they can't, then we're going to try and move in a different direction. So, conveniently enough, we can check if they succeeded in moving, because all we have to do is put this in an if statement. If, or I guess another way we can do this is just make a variable and
If tile,
keep track of it.
if units dot tile dot tile dot north. basically.
Visual Studio is doing Visual Studio things. Both moves is equal to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and make it move in a bunch of directions. So if not moved, let's go ahead and make it try the next direction. So tile east, or oh, is it putting red squigglies around everything?
Yeah.
It does that sometimes. It's a Microsoft product.
It just doesn't know where everything is. It is.
Try building it and see if that works, if that fixes it at all. So yeah, here what we're gonna do is we're gonna say we're gonna make every single unit move, and that's what this loop is doing. It's saying for every unit that you control, do something, obviously, and then right here we're basically saying, hey, try to move this unit to the north. And then if it didn't move, then try and move it to the east. If it didn't move it to the south. And if it didn't move it to the west. Pretty straightforward, right? Oh, that sounds good. So hopefully this doesn't tell me that some object doesn't exist for whatever reason. I'm actually not sure what. Okay, well, for convenience, I'm gonna go ahead and put something here. So this will do is it'll tell it basically when the game ends. Wait till you push enter before closing. That might be convenient to have. Otherwise, it'll close on you. Objects.
I
So-
was making a joke, right? I was trying to be funny. I know I'm not funny. But I'm gonna try.
So we're gonna just run this manually, I guess.
Why are we yelling at me?
C
There.
catastrophe dash s game.cgame.io dash do that. Okay, there we go. It just yelled at me when I ran it through Visual Studio, I guess, or maybe
Wait,
not.
click on that right window thing you're with. Just click on it. So that dumb tracking pops out. Just click on that. Just click right.
I'm clicking on
He
it.
has already clicked on it.
How come it's not?
What?
Oh.
EXE? It moves to
Oh.
the next line, Jeffrey. Come
Oh.
on.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I am
Oh.
very
Jeffrey's
confused.
broken.
Oh. Oh.
We didn't make that much
Well,
progress.
Oh.
it stops.
Yeah. For some reason, this is throwing an error. Let's try building this again. I'm just gonna build this manually.
IRs
I
understand.
keep forgetting I don't have LS in the command prompt.
You keep
Yeah.
forgetting you're no longer all powerful like you are on your normal computer.
I'm just gonna build this through the command line. That might fix it.
Okay.
You should be working. Okay. I'm currently playing against someone else. I'll have to change the session name in a second. Who am I playing against? Session name?
Deja vu.
Oh.
Deja vu. You said who am I playing against again? It felt like the exact same moment.
I mean, I tried. I have
Well-
the same session name, but then it.
Yeah.
Then you're checking for-
Okay, there we go. It ended. I would have just ended it early, but you can't do that. Otherwise, it won't show the game log.
So that's probably what happened. I tried to start a game.
Yeah. Anyway,
It crashed.
so it gives you a link. Go ahead and copy it. Paste it here. Apparently, we won because the other player crashed or something. Was that you?
Probably.
Whoever. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. So we this time are going to be blue. I'll go ahead and maximize it. We're blue.
It's
And it moves them all.
I'm moving around. Yay.
They're all moving up. And then they'll try to move.
Timed out.
You did a null reference.
Here, do it
Yeah.
again. I'll be a better player because.
Let's go ahead and view this game. And hopefully it ran long enough that we can see some
Hey,
movements.
look, 43 turn. No, not 43.
Yeah, they're moving up.
Things.
And then they crash. Looks like the error was object reference. Hey, I got the same error as you. This is a complicated thing. Basically, it's saying
Does it have to do with
unit.move, unit.runTurn,
Tile is
line
trying to move
105.
at an invalid tile.
line 105.
That might, yeah, that's probably it.
Okay, that must be it. Yeah, because sometimes this will be null.
So we have to check to see if it's there before we move there.
Yeah, so we'll have to check that.
That's what mine
So
was getting to. My abomination of if statements.
that's not supposed to happen, but I guess it doesn't like. There was errors with that with the C# client too, or C++ client too. So that makes sense. So moved equals false. Let's just go ahead and do this. If unit.tile.tile north is not equal to null, do that, then else. How about this? Move equals that.
Let's just do.
Then this is not equal to null. So we just want to make sure that we're only moving it once. We're going to go ahead soon and make it move multiple times even. So that'll be cool. not equal to null. And then this is not equal to null. And I'm going to do this fancy magic thing called formatting. And I guess I can.
Truly witchcraft.
Not the
Oh.
format.
Oh, whoops. The last one is not done. And that. Not equal to null. This is not JavaScript. There we go.
No.
Oh, whoops. If not moved is not equal to null.
Sounds right.
That would always be true. So it would possibly move twice.
That's true.
Or not.
That was,
Alright. Well. Maybe I'll get in a game with myself this time. Okay, yeah, I got into this game this time. I didn't change the session name.
My session is 32.
Your session is 30. It says 32 for some reason, if it happens to be some kind of conflict.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason, session name works and any other session name doesn't work. So, you guys can play against each other if you want to play in session 32.
Oh my gosh.
I'll
Holy
get you
cow.
a session
What has
32.
happened?
Your code broke.
Did you say that
somebody
your
just played with me.
is your code not perfect, Jeffrey? What is that?
What?
I know.
Mine compiles and running. I'm playing.
Alright,
a game.
I'm just gonna end this quickly. So,
I know
yeah,
it's
yeah,
such a
stuff
game.
happens.
Can't move.
Still got a
Alright,
game log.
backpedaling.
So, go ahead and view that. And then, this time it didn't throw an error. That's amazing.
I'm trying
You
to
guys
move
got
on
to see
things
how
I can't.
debugging works for the AIs.
Oh.
So yeah, moving up, and then now they're moving to the right, up there.
Oh, it's over.
See?
They closed.
That's what happened. Okay, I know what happened.
And eventually they'll
I
start
un-
moving down.
I
And
understand.
then eventually they'll start moving
I
back up
comprende.
as well. They'll move down then up. But anyway,
Comprende.
yay! We got something that moves units.
Yay!
Yeah.
Rejoicing.
Yep. And then I'll show you guys how to use the Pathfinder and stuff.
Genius half moves.
Let's find a path.
Moves. Can't move because that was right. I sense an endless loop.
All right.
We played the waiting game. Who decides to pick first?
Well, first of all, let's make all the units move as much as possible. So that'll speed up the games.
How many moves are you gonna get?
I don't know. We don't need to know. 4, or actually we can do it this way. Yeah, just 4. Some variable equals 0. There. You can call this move equals 0. Move is less than unit.moves. Actually,
What's the objective of catastrophe?
For when?
you want to
Wow.
defeat your opponent's cat, or you want to kill all of their humans. So, either you defeat their cat, or you defeat their humans, or you just have to be in the lead when the game ends. There's a whole list of what it means to be in the lead, but it's not really that important right now. For the actual game that we're going to be doing this semester, though, you'll want to look through all that stuff and figure it out. Anyway, unit.moves. So we want to keep track of how many moves this unit has left. So I'm just going to make it iterate. I'm going to put a little for loop there, and it's going to, basically it's going to try to move it as many times as it can. So doing this, go ahead and push compile, execute. If you're curious, it's just that. It's just a for loop. I make a variable to keep track of this because this variable is going to change each time it moves. So this will just make sure that this doesn't change. This variable stays the same. And then basically just iterating through some variable move until it reaches that number. But that should make sure that it moves multiple times in one turn. So go ahead and run that, and it'll do its thing for a while.
I have no idea.
And then magic occurs.
Mm-hmm. We're going to see all the can't move because.
I'm pretty sure that was literally going for. Oh wait, wow, that's actually not going on for.
I think he's surrounded by units too.
Maybe.
No escape.
I mean, either way.
I'm getting
just-
a lot less errors than you are.
Well, as good as yours has been able to move for a while, while mine's just
Either
like.
that or mine's doing nothing.
Alright. That client just so happened to have an error and just. I'm just kidding. It didn't throw an error. I just pressed close. here's the game log. So
I mean, we should roll essentially.
we can go ahead and copy this over and paste it into here,
Or you die.
and
Right?
you know the usual.
Makes mine
Oh
just
look,
fine.
they move a lot of times now each time.
Oh, there you go.
They can move multiple times each turn.
Alright, so I need to first if job equals
Anyway.
no, that's not right.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have your own AIs do whatever you want. But for what I'm doing here, we just had it move as many times as it could for that turn. That's cool and all, but this doesn't help us win the game. We want to actually defeat their
You
their
sure about
cat.
that?
So
Wait, wait,
the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna actually set up a variable.
Can we stop?
Want to be a flip coin. I win the coin flip.
This dot player dot opponent dot
I win the
cat.
coin flip.
I'm going to go ahead and make a variable called opponent cat, and it's going to be a reference to the opponent's cat. So this is the thing that we want to attack and you know, defeat, kill, whatever. Destroy. Obliteration.
Destroy.
Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and comment out all that code for now.
You should mention what the difference between capital units and like lowercase unit is.
Well, this is a class and this is a variable.
Be careful, because Visual Studio keeps trying to autocorrect it to the capital version on mine.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mine's just moving one move at a time. So you're taking forever to move. That's why. Mine's just like, oh, I can move in the direction I move. You're moving all your moves.
So in order to actually, hold on, I'm sorry. In order to actually attack the cat, we need a unit that can attack. So in this game, if you go back to the game rules and look through all this, eventually you'll find a unit called the soldier. Right here. And this one says can attack other units or structures. Obviously, different games are going to have different rules. In Beavers, every single unit could attack, I think. In Saloon, it was different types of things they acted. But in this case, we're going to try and grab a soldier.
Unit dot units that unit dot moves?
Oh, this?
I mean, no, the other one.
This one?
Like the way that the
Yeah.
Oh, mine only runs if it's a certain type of job. That's
Mhm.
why.
I already have it.
Because I forgot I added that in there.
And the name unit does not exist in the
So mine aren't moving at all.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Here we're going to start having conditional logic. So we're going to make each unit do different things. Well, not necessarily, but we're going to make different units behave differently. So what we want to do is we want to convert all of our units to soldiers and make them attack the enemy.
Congratulations, that was one of the main strategies of that.
Yeah, that was actually one of the main strategies of catastrophe.
Top-tiered strategy.
But in order to do that, we're going to have to take all of our units. So if unit dot job dot title is not equal to soldier, we want to make it into a soldier. In order to do that, hold on.
We're just going to fast forward.
Does this take a string? Okay, this does take a string. All right. We're gonna make the units move to the cat,
Mine just stopped.
like move to our cat. So let me go ahead and make a variable here. Unit cat is equal to this dot player to cat. We're gonna have it move to our cat, change jobs to a soldier. That's gonna be step one. So if this is not a soldier, we got to somehow find a path to our cat. Thankfully, this find path function was given to you. This thing will, if you're curious, this is just breadth first search, and you can change it however you want. In fact, a lot of the I guess, winning AIs don't actually use the normal Pathfinder. I know that Bob and I both use different ones, and Goldman used his own as well. So anyway, we're going to make this find a path to the cat. So in order to do that,
What
path.
version does it use for the Pathfinder?
What?
What Pathfinder does it use?
This one?
Like A-Star or?
You're talking about the built-in one?
Yeah.
It's just breadth first search. It's just you give it a start tile and you give it a finish tile, and it'll do its BFS thing. You can write your own though. That's actually one of the things that I'm going to go over real quickly at the end. So we're going to get the path. So path is equal to this dot find path, and we want to find a path from this unit's tile to our cat's tile. And then this is going to return list of tiles. So find a path like that, and then the first element of the path is going to be the tile next to your unit. So what you can do is while this dot move or unit dot moves is greater than 0. So as long as this unit can move, and there's anything in the path. So you can do path.any is a C# thing, or path.count is greater than 0. I'll leave it like this so that you guys can understand it. So as long as this unit can move, and as long as there's anything in the path, what we're going to do is we're going to make it move to the first thing in this path. So to do that, we're going to do unit.move path 0. But then we want to make sure that we don't move to that same tile again. So path.remove at 0. We'll remove the first one. This'll just, I'll show you this executing in a sec. But before we can actually run this code, we need to make sure that if you go down here, you'll see that this is, where is it at? This code calls I think it's get neighbors. No, it's not that. It has, where is it? Is pathable. Okay, so is pathable. What we need to do is fill in this function real quick. This will be filled in when you get Shell AI, but if you're not using Shell AI, or if you want to do your own Pathfinder, then you want to know this function exists. Because maybe you want to be able to walk through certain tiles, maybe you want it to not walk through those at other times. What we're going to do is if tile dot, if this dot, so if this tile has a unit, then return false, and then and return true. Yeah. So what this is this is the tile class. Okay, it's still open. This is the tile class. What this is going to do is we're filling in this is pathable function so that the Pathfinder knows what it's doing. So obviously different AIs are going to fill this in differently, and if you're writing your own Pathfinder, you're probably not even going to use this at all. But what we're going to do is basically see, is there a unit on this tile? If there is, then you can't walk on that tile, obviously, because there's already something there. Otherwise, you can walk on it. You can move through it. So make sure to fill this in if you're going to be using the default Pathfinder. So let's go back to the AI. Going back up to here. We don't need this move logic anymore because we're not going to be using that now that we have a Pathfinder. So what this is saying is, hey, is this a soldier? If it is, move along this path towards the cat. Now we need to make it actually change jobs though. So to check if it's actually at the cat, and just if path.count is equal to 0. So basically if there's nothing left in the path, so you're at the end of the path essentially, then unit.change job soldier. Pretty straightforward. I guess let's go ahead and test this. Is everyone ready to move on, or should I leave this up? All right, I'll leave this up for now.
he goes, uh-oh.
Where's the if?
Like,
Okay, stop. That. I want to add into this file.
Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and start it. But I'll leave this code on the side. Unit is the overlord. Oh, the cat can't change his job, but we didn't actually put a check in there to see if the cat is trying to change jobs.
what session are you on?
Session_name. I'm trying to find a session that nobody's using because otherwise I won't be able to just close it. But I can't use any other sessions on this for some reason, so I won't.
Right now I'm in hockey pace mode.
I'm on 32 if someone wants to. Like me.
If anyone wants to go to session 32 and play against them,
Wait, let me. I'll
you're gonna
truck you. I programmed it in to actually attack.
Alright, well, here we go.
One by a corn cup. That's it.
Yeah, obviously they didn't attack each other.
This is not looking good.
They're not a soldier. They were trying to attack people that couldn't.
Yeah, you can't attack unless you're a soldier. So here's the result of those changes that we made to the code. You'll see they move to their cat and they change jobs. Hey! We got soldiers now. They don't do anything, but they're soldiers.
Yay.
Just wanted to make sure that they'd actually work, right? So now that they're soldiers inside this loop, obviously a soldier has the title soldier, so it won't go into this if statement. So now soldiers are doing nothing. They're basically just being looped over. Let's add some logic in for soldiers. Else if unit.job.title is equal to soldier. I guess we could just put else there.
This one, from
So otherwise,
supposed to
we're going to go ahead and do some logic for the soldier. So the soldier, we want it to move towards the enemy's cat. So we're going to just copy this over. It's going to be the same concept
from whatever unit.
over here. And we're going to make it, instead of unit.tile, we're going to do opponent cat.tile, and then this code, same as before. It's just going to move towards the opponent's cat. And then once it reaches there, we don't want it to change jobs. We want it unit.attack
Kyle's current unit.
attack
Kyle and cat's tile.
opponent cat.tile.
And then bottom
So we want it to attack the opponent's cat.
and then it removes it from
Pretty straightforward. It's just find path. Move. So find a path right here. Move along the path till you get to the opponent's cat, and then once you're there, go ahead and just attack it. Also, while we're here, we want to go ahead and add some logic. So if unit.job equal to cat overlord. So if it's the cat, we don't want it to do anything. We just want it to sit there. So just keep going through the loop.
I'm not.
Otherwise, it's going to keep telling us that you can't do that with the cat overlord. So pretty straightforward. If you don't know what continue is, it just skips the rest of the loop and goes to the next one. This can be closed now.
You ready?
All right, let's play.
Currently, my Pathfinder's nowhere.
One thing that you'll...
I don't know
Okay.
why.
I don't know what happened there. Well, let's find out.
It's like the same block going back and forth between
Yeah.
the two. Alright, you ready?
Apparently it got mad. So
Play me.
must move to northeast, south, or west.
Okay, sure.
You know, the tile to opponent's cat stuff. Opponent cat stuff. Alright, let's see what the heck's happening.
Already on. What?
So you're getting already occupied. I'm getting is now adjacent.
Alright.
So we're both having different errors, and both.
So
of us
they move.
refuses to walk.
The soldiers move to the there, and then they seem to start moving towards the opponent's cat, like you would expect.
He's mine.
Ooh. Does the Pathfinder zero when it's adjacent to it, or when it's on that
Okay.
Maybe it's because there's so many other cats. Like there's so many.
If you're moving to like, say this tile where there's nothing on it, then the Pathfinder will stop at this tile. But if you're moving to like the cat,
What will be its
then
start tile?
it'll be adjacent to it. The start tile will be, let's say this unit is trying to move. The start tile is going to be the spot next to it. So it'll the 0th element of that list, 0, is going to be the tile adjacent to that unit.
I'm getting
It says it in the
basically
doc.
not adjacent to unit.
Uh-huh. I got that too. Your unit must move to.
Well, I'm actually getting a slightly different error. Invalid tile blank is not adjacent to
Mhm.
unit and their number.
That's probably because it's trying to attack.
Oh, is that part of attack then?
Mm-hmm. So he'll try to move, and then
Because if I can at least be.
so if it's a soldier, then
Is mine moving at all?
find a path.
No. I can get all
So
my
okay,
soldiers, but they
something convenient when you're actually working on coding. So this depends. This is a per language thing as well. For C#, for C++, there's different kinds of debuggers you can use. For C#, you can actually just put a breakpoint here, and then what'll happen is you can go ahead and run it, and then when it reaches that point in the code, it stops. And then you can see, oh, this unit has 3 moves left.
Oh.
The
because
the
you're
path is
just
empty.
Just check to make sure.
Okay,
it's
so
not-
that's
not just
I
the-
okay.
not the cat.
The reason why this is saying your unit, well, not this error message, but the reason why it says
Oh, did you
this
want
tile is
to
not
see
adjacent to
the
this one is because
I'm just not
what's happening is we step through the code. No, I don't wanna. And then it's going to try to attack the opponent's cat's tile. This is 24-0, and then this unit is on
My code is exactly like this.
217. So those aren't anywhere near each other. And then when you push step through there,
My code's exactly like yours, but my guys won't move on the second one. They'll move on the first one, but not on the second one. The heck is going on?
yeah.
The heck?
I won because, oh, yeah, see, it gave me that error, but it also timed out. Whatever. Anyway,
Why is this?
so yeah, you can write your whole AI like this. This is the general concept for it. Obviously, this isn't great. It doesn't work.
Obviously, you want it to be functional.
Yeah, you want it to be functional first.
Shocker.
The Pathfinder is going to be given to you. You can just use it like this, or I want to actually move ahead and get into some things you can do once your code is working. So pretend like this does whatever, you know, it attacks the cat and it does whatever. Looking at this, it actually lost because it disconnected, but whatever. So assuming that all your code works, what can you do to make it better? Obviously just going straight towards the opponent's cat and attacking them. It's a simple strategy, maybe it works, but it's not guaranteed to be that great.
Early, but probably not later.
What if, for example, what if I wanted to attack the nearest enemy? There can be a lot of enemies. You're not just going to find a path to a single tile. You want to find a path to a lot of tiles. So one easy thing you can do is, you see this find path function? Make that an array. So goals. And then now what you can do is change the logic inside of it. So goals dot contains start. And then down here, goals dot contains a neighbor. And if that's the case, then neighbor. So that was easy. I just had to change a couple things, and now it accepts a list of things that you can put as targets. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this, we're going to find a path to the cat's tile right there. But over here, what we're going to do is we're going to find a path to, I'm going to use a little bit of fancy magic here, a enemy tiles is equal to this dot player dot opponents dot units dot select unit dot tile dot to array. So this fancy line of code is basically going to say get each tile from each of the opponent's units. Don't worry about this. You could do a for loop if you want. Basically, I'm just getting a list
You
of.
need a list, not a var. Don't forget.
Oh, it's explicitly an array. Oh, it's tile. Oops. There we go. So what this is going to do is it's going to get the tiles that all of the enemy's units are on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass that array into this function instead. So now, rather than passing it a single target, I'm passing it an entire array of targets. That's a lot of different targets. And all it's going to do is find the nearest one. In theory. Obviously, this is
How did you
question.
There's only one screen.
Hey, you did not compile for some reason. Oh, duh, because I currently have the game open. Okay. Yeah, make sure you have your game closed when you compile. Unless you happen to be on Linux and it doesn't actually matter. There we go. Just you get to see these millions of blocks of code or errors. But alright, unit must move to a tile northeast, south, or west. And it was moving to the first.
I can't do this because I can't do I don't know what you did to the AI thing.
The what?
Basically, whenever you initiated the lists, we were looking over other stuff at the time.
Oh, here's the code that I wrote real quick. This fancy line of code is C#'s way of making a for loop into a single statement. It's just basically making an array of all of the enemy's tiles.
Okay, so
We don't need all
it
this.
wasn't supposed.
I'm using,
This player unit select.
My code is exactly like yours.
yeah, I know, and mine isn't exactly being friendly either. I think it's specifically because I don't use this Pathfinder, and I think it's either Path 0 or Path 1 or something. I don't know. I don't use this Pathfinder normally, but this is how you would use this Pathfinder if you were going to be using it. This is the built-in one.
Okay, now what did you hear that made it?
But
what did you do
here I
that
am.
makes it,
I made it. So over here,
thing?
okay. Do you want me to help you? Are you trying to like change the Pathfinder right here?
You adjusted something to make it work for that.
Basically, okay. So I changed this into an array, and then whenever it said like goal is equal to something, I just said goals.contains. So
Okay.
dot contains just means is this inside of the array? And then down at the bottom.
64.
So this is one thing you could do if you want to try and make your AI better. You could change the Pathfinder. Another thing you can do is actually switch this out entirely for A* and have movement costs and all the fancy stuff to control which, like what kind of path your units are going to take. If you want it to like go around potentially dangerous units and avoid them.
Are yours doing anything?
Alright,
Yeah, let's count this.
so I think this game is done. Yeah, it's done. Okay.
I won.
Yeah, that's it. I killed it.
So
And what's done building?
let's copy that over.
What's going on?
And then one more thing before we go is I'll let this run. But one more thing before we go is I want to show you guys one thing that will probably help a lot during development.
Alright, did you 64 thinking?
This is okay. Let me speed this game up.
Something's wrong on this line.
There we go.
Oh.
Now they move to each other. I think I know what it is. The reason why I can't move is because it's already there or something. I don't know. But anyway, one thing just before we finish up, I'm going to go ahead and copy some code over from my AI actually.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
Well, it's not gonna be the AI code specifically. I'm going to copy down this function down at the bottom called display map. So something that will help immensely, something amazing is You write this function. It says display map, or name it whatever you want. And all this is going to do is it's going to iterate through every single tile and print it to the screen. And it's going to do this once per turn. So I'm going to copy that over to here. It's the same game, so it'll work. And then up at the top, I'm going to go ahead and make it print a couple things. I'm going to make it print out the map, and then I want to know what turn it is as well. So console clear. So I'll clear out the. Actually, I don't think it needs to do that. So I'm going to do some fancy C# magic here again, just to speed things up. Turn this game print turn out of this game max turns. All right. These 2 lines of code. There's a display map function. You guys, it's not hard to write. All it does is it says iterate through each tile in the game and then print out some information about it. And these using different colors, you'll see. I'll go ahead and run it so you can actually see it. Come on, you can work. I believe in you. Okay. There, see? Obviously, it's not clearing out whatever that is, but whatever. You can see the map, and you can watch the game while it's executing. So this is something that will help if you're developing and you don't want to keep going back and forth to the visualizer. You can write your own. It's
I
two.
like how instead of just having an endless line of errors.
Yeah, this is actually a little more useful because then you know each turn specifically, rather than just seeing, oh, there's a lot of errors. You see, in this turn, these errors happen. And you can actually see why the error is happening here. The friendly soldier's right here, the enemy soldier's right here. You can't move because the tile is already occupied by a unit, so they're trying to move into each other. That's an easy fix. You just go over to here and then you say,
How many attack each other or something?
huh?
How many attack each other or something?
Yeah, they should be attacked. Oh, that's the issue. They're trying to attack the opponent cat's tile still. Let's see. Path.
Oh, player.
So, path not remove.
Select.
Let's just put this in here.
Oh,
If path dot unit or path 0 dot unit dot no, it's not equal null.
And to make sure it's not your unit.
Well, you're
Not
never
my
gonna
tracker
path.
does that, never mind.
You're not gonna path into your own unit.
I mean, you can, but
Unit dot attack. Path 0. That's not how you spell path. And then just break out of there. There we go. So just
Mine's just gonna keep
you can see we kept on having that error getting thrown. Row or added a little thing that displays the map, and now we can see what the error is.
I don't know how I had no listed, but
This will obviously
Everything on mine
just
will say,
check, am I trying to move into a unit? If I am, attack it instead. And then stop trying to move. I'm also going to add something up at the start.
Not all of them, but
So that's what these start and end functions are for. So
So there's something-
console dot clear. So I'm going to clear the console at the beginning. And then when it ends, I'm going to make it, obviously, wait till I push enter. But
Try again. Good.
let's go ahead and start it up.
Should be able to kill you now.
Is it all good if I switch or you wanna?
See.
I don't know. No, I know what the error was. Yeah.
this may make it just instantly crash, but I'm gonna try it.
You're trying to move to the very last one.
I'm seeing to build it backwards.
A bunch of you guys have already started writing your own AIs as well, I can tell.
Okay. Which one? 6-4?
Yep. That's what we play.
Okay, that's
Hey,
what I
I
thought.
won. Device disconnected.
Go ahead and run it again. And yeah. You can see they attacked each other and then Game is over. One of the players won because
Can you show me your movement code? Because I'm just
All right.
giving up here. Just
I.
please.
This is what I changed it to.
Okay, a lot more stuff.
Cat
is happening
overlords, yeah.
now.
Alright, mine is not going after you. I guess. Mine's not even, I'm no longer.
What you want to do is, you see this ended function? What I'm doing is I'm doing read line, so that'll
Oh, that's
wait till you
fine.
push enter.
It's a new login, so it's like, hey, check your
Where is that?
This ended, but the thing is, this read line. So no matter what, when this ends, it's gonna read the line and then it's going to output the link and then immediately close after, which is really annoying. Another thing you can do instead, since that seems to happen all the time, is you open up, you go to game.siggame.io, port 3080, and then you push refresh, and it'll show you all of the games that have been run on this server. And then you can just click on view.
Why does it think it's 12 a.m.?
Because I don't know where
Because
this
it
server
12
is.
a.m. You've been lied to.
It's 12 a.m. in some part of the world.
It's 12 a.m. somewhere.
Alright. So who wanted to play against my AI?
You want your code.
The answer is nobody does.
Oh no, what happened? Don't do this to me.
The password doesn't match. What are you talking about? That is my password. There it is. It goes. 138 new messages. Let's go.
How do you get it to say where it is?
Yeah.
Post the visualizer link.
No, it pastes it and then it immediately closes anyway. Go to this link.
Where's it at?
Game.siggame.io, port 3080. And then you can see all of the different games that have happened. You're probably session 32.
Yeah, that's us.
You can watch your game for you.
Okay.
Let's see who won. Maybe you want to fight Accord.
Alright.
What is that link at?
I had to close out of the game because he told me to.
Well, I'm not built for this.
Oh,
Hey, they changed to soldiers.
Why are they not even fighting?
They didn't move, but they changed
Yeah, mine won't
that.
find the other
They
cat.
changed the soldier.
I think I know why. Because I told
Why
it
am I
units
soldiers
are
not-
Screwed up.
Why are our
So it
soldiers
doesn't-
not trying to kill each other?
No, never mind. That was
Screwed
it.
up
This was-
Let me see your
How
code.
did you do or in C#?
Or it's just two types.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Because I don't have it.
Hey, guess what?
Got it.
Our game was so broken, you can't even watch the replay. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a little bit slow because obviously it's printing a lot more and doing a lot more logic, but
Okay, your guys are moving.
What?
And their health is lowering.
Oh, and mine was stuck.
Wait,
Mine
this
is
isn't
stuck.
us.
that was fast.
This is not
Wait.
us.
I assume like
What is that cat?
C# binary or versus
What cat?
avionics
That cat.
core.
This
it's
one.
structure.
Awesome.
Pretty much.
Hold on. Over here. I'll slow it down. That's a little bit slow.
So you're just kind of having fun playing with me.
Okay, I'm over there picking up all the fresh humans, and you start attacking my cat. But my
But
cat,
the thing is, see, your guy rests,
Yeah,
which
my-
is basically the hard counter to my strategy.
it just rests, and that makes it impossible for you to win.
And
And then they both died, and then all of my units. Now that I'm,
Humans died.
it's literally me versus one unit. They all decide to become soldiers, specifically because I'm in a massive lead, and they just obliterate that
Well,
one guy.
something that cat, cat, you can't run away forever.
Decision trees.
Yeah, it's decision trees.
I killed
If I actually show you the code though, it's basically what it's doing is it's for each unit type, it's saying check the state of this unit, then move to a shelter that's near the
Is
road.
that one of your classes?
Yeah, this is my AI. So this is actually in the start function where it's deciding basically what logic do I want to give each unit. So each of these is a function. You can use functions like this in C#. That's one of the great things. So it's saying for the cat overlord, just check the state and then try to move to a shelter that's next to the road or near the road, like whichever one's closest. You don't actually get to see that in the game because it was so short. But And then also just the last thing is rest. So rest if you can, and that's it.
Run your AI
Fresh
against
humans
itself.
have their logic.
That'd be an
Soldiers,
interesting game.
you know, check state. Try to change jobs if it shouldn't be a soldier anymore. Defend the cat. Attack enemies if it that part of the game. You know, there's logic inside these functions to check, should I actually do this? So if it's at the point of the game where it should attack, then it'll attack enemies, and then just rest at the end.
Basically, you
It-
made a
it's-
whole bunch of functions that did
Yeah.
all this, and then you just made set the thing up there was just you wrote those in to call
Those are
them.
like
you
the
just decided
priority
which
that you do.
priority.
Yeah, this is the order that it happens. And so like these are all just
Here,
different
show,
things.
show them how you actually wrote those little lines, like her logic dot add.
Yeah,
task.
so I actually have
is
this.
Logic one of your methods? Or
Yeah, okay, this is an instance of a class that I wrote, unit logic. I'm gonna go to it. Okay, unit logic. So this is just a class. Basically, it has where is it? A list. Unit logic. Okay. Add task. So this dot tasks. It's just a list of functions that it's gonna execute. So it goes ahead and adds that specific thing, and then scroll down a bit. I want to find the attack function, or maybe gather or something. Deconstruct, construct shelter, construct monument. Well, yeah. A certain president is also with the state. Move to road shelter. Check state. Store food. Harvest. Okay, here we go. Harvest. So. Come back. Oh, do you need the room, by the way? Oh, sorry. You're all good. You're technically done, by the way. So if you guys want to leave, you can.
Never. We live here now.
Yeah. Take an empty box with you.
Take an empty box with you.
It's pretty straightforward. All it does is, this is a little bit confusing to look at. It's trying to get a list of all the food tiles that it can harvest from. Looks for stuff. Anyway, it just moves to food. That's basically all it does. It moves to those bushes, tries to gather food, and then drops it back off.
So is it always in C# or
But my code, or
no?
It's just whatever language you want to
yeah,
program.
there's
your AI.
there's 6 languages, 7 if you want to bug Jacob about TypeScript, but you can do C#, C++, Python, Lua, JavaScript, and Java. So all of those languages are supported. They all work the same, except for the only difference is with the other languages, most likely what you're going to be doing is not that one. Most likely what you're going to be doing is using this test run this test run script right here. So the test run script, what you're going to do is make. So there's a make file here. Obviously, the only language that really matters or the 2 languages that matters in is Java and C++. But make, it'll compile all your code, and then test run will run it. But like the different languages, if I go to let me just open up one of them. So Joe, what language are you thinking about?
I was just wondering.
Pick one.
C++.
All right, C++. You pulled yourself into this. I'm just kidding.
It's too late to back out.
This is C++. If you got a header file and actual, yeah.
Files.
Let me go to AI, and then yeah, it's just the same thing. It's just you'll have different names. So this is all in underscores rather than like.
Your files are so out of date.
I don't know. 14 days ago. But yeah, it's just the difference is, see, this one uses lowercase, lower camel case. That's the only difference you're going to have, other than it being an entirely different language.
So that's a snake case.
Yeah, snake case.
Essentially-
Sorry, did I say camel case?
Yes.
The change in the syntax.
My
So
bad. Lower
there's
snake
some-
case.
There's different syntax and functions.
It
follows the syntax of
But
that.
it-
JavaScript and I believe Java use camel case, and then C# uses Pascal case, which is upper camel case. So yeah, they're just named different things.
Plus fairly easily.
Yeah. There's not a Rust client, but
But I can use FFI to merge into it.
Well,
Okay.
the issue is the runtime is in C++, so you'd actually have to call
well,
into Rust.
if you can compile
So,
it
yeah.
to native, what you would do is you can ask Jacob while you're there actually, but generally what you'll do is you'll edit this Docker file right here,
Yeah.
and then see over here it's got basically if you understand Docker files, you do this, and then the Docker file is part 1. Part 2 is you edit the make file. So question is whether or not the machines are going to have Rust on them, but
I think
It's
these
compiled, so it
do.
doesn't matter.
The ones in 213 don't.
the ones that we're running it on are instances that we literally just create on the spot and run stuff on. You can ask them if they can add Rust to it, and then what you'll do is you'll edit this make file, and then in here, see this is the C# one. What this is doing is when it builds this .NET restore, and that's the build command. So this just restores all the packages, does that. And then main exists for whatever reason. Yeah, anyway, that's how you would do it if you do want to use Rust.
But you would have to use it with the FFI and.
Yeah, it'll probably end up being more work than it's worth to try and add the language while you're at the competition.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but afterwards, if you want, you can even make your own client for Rust even.
I might try that.
I might contribute that.
There's this fancy, there's this folder right here, _creator, and then /game/ some convoluted name. And this just means what it looks like. So when we generate the clients, what we do is we actually run it through a program to generate them. This is saying, hey, just take the game's name, but underscored. So like camel case, or not camel case, I said that again, snake case. Snake case. And then, so there's going to be, let me show you this. This is going to be hard to explain if I don't show you. So games, this says _ game name. These are all the game names, all open up catastrophe. And then inside that folder, there's this thing, which has all this stuff I'll explain in a sec. And then there's CMake lists, README, additional files, AI, blah blah. And then inside of these, this is all Mako, so it's a little complicated. Yeah. So this says object key.
The
So,
point is, that's the
yeah.
thing that changes it from genericville to C++.
Yeah. There's a program that we run, and then it generates something like looks like this. If you do want to do it.
And there's just straight Jawara, isn't it? Just like the general save, like it has just all the base stuff in it, and then it gets
Yeah.
into a program.
That's why I was asking.
That'd be really
Because we have a chess client that he uses as well, and for that we give each AI 15 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people in that class.
Yeah, they get 15 minutes to run their code, like through the entire